Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Secular Sports. For those that just don't know, kicker Roberto Aguayo has just been released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For the many who remember, Aguayo was infamously a second-round pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, and there had been some hometown Bucks fans tweeting at me and trying to defend the pick as if the guy was Sebastian Janikowski, a former first-round draft pick kicker for the Raiders in 2000, and they also pointed out how a lot of other players in 2000 were a bunch of busts, but the reality shows that a guy like Janikowski was still overpaid for because there were players like Chad Pennington picked in the first round at pick number 18, but there was also this famous player who turned out to be pretty damn good, Tom Brady, a Bay Area guy, by the way. They pretty much were saying that they were willing to pay a Porsche price for a Toyota Camry. That's what they did. A Camry is a solid car. It's a drivable car, and if you get it in hybrid, it might be even better. But when a kicker plays just 10 snaps per game, and in the case of Aguayo, it's 10 maximum. When a kicker plays, just that number versus a pass rusher like Noah Spence, 36 snaps per game, or a full-time player, 60 snaps per game, when the numbers don't add up, using a Janikowski example to justify a Aguayo pick is a pretty bad idea. And the hypocrisy of the Aguayo defenders from 2016 failed to realize that the Jacksonville Jaguars infamously passed up Russell Wilson 3 spots ahead where they took a punter, Brian Anger. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers technically have that player. Well, what the Bucs failed to realize is that if a terrible team like the Jaguars were willing to let a player like Anger go and essentially admit their mistake by not paying him any money that he was seeking, at the same time they failed to realize that Janikowski, a fine kicker but not the best of his generation, especially in comparison to players like Adam Vinatieri. I think that that they pretty much decided to shoot themselves in the foot from day one once they made Aguayo their second round pick. Worst of all is that when you pick a 10 snap per game player within the top 100 picks, let alone the top 70, you are saying that we're willing to pass up great positional players that could help out our constantly weakened areas, such as our defense. The defense in 2016 allowed 1 more point than the offense scored. Last year, the defense allowed 23.1 points per game, while the offense scored 22.1. Sure, they were 9-7, and with new added pieces like Deshaun Jackson and O.J. Howard, they look like they're one step away. And you could see some Jacquizz Rodgers play early on with Doug Martin's suspension. This is not looking. This is the Buccaneers are pretty much showing that they're willing to be unstable and that they're willing to pass up pretty helpful players like Kevin Byard, who was available in round 3. They're willing to make glaring holes of their areas continuously expanded. The defense looks improved, and sure there are some notable players like Vernon Hargraves, Levante David, and Noah Spence, but guys like that, and Gerald McCoy, they're good, but the overall defense has to still lower the opponent's scoring totals far more consistently if it wants to compete. We already have seen Jameis Winston commit 24 turnovers, and we've also seen the kicking problem, which is now going to be less of a problem considering that Aguayo is released. We still are realizing that although the Bucs have some bright spots, they still can be fatally flawed. Until they stop making all of these colossal mistakes that without hindsight were going to be bad and destined to be bad, we have to push the brakes on them. We have to not declare them Super Bowl champs or playoff winners. We have to let them prove their worth early in the season. And when they prove their worth early in the season and that they've overcome their past draft and free agency mistakes, then we could feel more confident about them. I do get the feeling that they're going to go to the playoffs. I do get the feeling that they will have they'll have a shot at the NFC South crown. But with Atlanta being the defending champ and Carolina looking to rebound, they have some obstacles. And they have teams like New England on the schedule. But to go back to the main topic, Roberto Aguayo released and no longer a part of the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers finally admitted their mistake, but it was a mistake that they should have never made from the beginning.